You can count the number of three-pointers Ben Simmons has made in his 7-year career on one hand. If we told you that Shaq was a better free throw shooter than Ben, would you be surprised? How can somebody be the #1 overall pick, win Rookie of the Year, make 3 All-Star teams, and somehow still be considered a bust, and the owner of the worst contract in the NBA? Here is the curious case of Ben Simmons, his success, failures, and where he stands today. In theory, Ben Simmons is a 6'10" point guard with excellent court vision, premier defense, and elite athleticism. Now in reality, he's a disappointing role player on a mediocre Brooklyn team, and Simmons couldn't be dominant even after the Nets traded all their superstars. But how did it...
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I saw a tweet. It was like a before and after of Ben Simmons. That shit made me sad, bro. It felt like yesterday when Ben Simmons was like one of the next upcoming stars in the league, and motherfuckers was really scared of Ben Simmons' potential. It reminded me of when he was in those DPOY conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, top 5 perimeter defender in the league type shit, bro. Like, man, Ben Simmons used to be that guy, man. Shout out the old Ben Simmons. I don't know what's going on at this point with Ben Simmons, but I really wish, like, he can go back to what he was in, like, 2018 or 2019, bro. Bro really peaked in his, like, rookie season.
Get so bad? How come Simmons shot 70% from the free throw line in his first playoff series and just 33% in his last one? If we go back to his college days, Ben had one of the most productive seasons in recent memory, being the first NCAA player since 1986 to average over 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. He was one of the most fluid and coordinated athletes you'll find in any sport, not just basketball. With long strides, great body control, and unpredictable change of pace, Simmons did things in transition we haven't seen from somebody his size. And because of his tremendous ball handling and a knack for finding open teammates with bullet passes, Ben's scouting reports were flooded with LeBron comparisons. So when Simmons was selected as the first overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft, nobody was surprised. But it didn't take long for problems to arise. During the 76ers training camp, just a few weeks ahead of the season, Ben fractured the 5th metatarsal bone in his right foot. He was estimated to miss 3 to 4 months, but because he re-injured the foot during rehab, Simmons was forced to miss the whole season. Philly fans were in despair. After injuries took away the first 2 years of Joel Embiid's career, they feared the worst for Ben. But as soon as the 2017
Yo, that was a crazy stretch for y'all, bro. I think Jaleel was the only guy that was, like, healthy out the gate, right? Or did he? I think Jaleel missed a season too, right? I know Nerlens Noel wasn't healthy out the gate. I know that for a fact. I know Ben Simmons wasn't. I know Joel Embiid wasn't. Was Joel Embiid, like, injured out the gate too? I just remember y'all had some crazy fucking injuries, bro.
18 season started, Simmons started showing everyone why he was selected first overall. It took him only 4 games to record his first triple-double.
Yes, the triple-double for one Ben Simmons.
And he became the only player in NBA history.
Also, yes, I have seen Breaking Bad, and this is going to be a bad confession. Me and my girl binge-watched up to the last season, and somehow, some way, don't really know how to explain it, we just stopped watching it all together. I don't know what happened. Now, people rave about how that show ended and, like, you know, it was a great show, but I don't know what happened, though. Markelle Fultz was another one. Markelle Fultz was another one, too. Like, damn, y'all had some really bad luck, bro. Have you seen Power? I've also watched... When I was in college, I binge-watched all of Power and caught up, but I think the last season was being aired on Stars. I watched all the episodes on Hulu, and I didn't end up watching that last season. And again, I just never got back into it, bro. I know what happened. You like, what did happen? Cardiac, I legitimately don't know. Text me if you, like, what's your hypothesis? I don't know.
To begin a season with at least 170 points, 100 rebounds, and 80 assists in his team's first 10 games. Ben finished the year averaging 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on 55% shooting from the field. And he was easily the most versatile rookie since LeBron James. Simmons won Rookie of the Year over Donovan Mitchell, but even more importantly, he helped Philly to win 52 games and reach the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. The process was finally over, and the Sixers proved that 4 years of tanking is a great way to acquire top talent. Their GM and the master of draft pick Sam Hinkie suddenly looked super smart, especially after the Sixers dominantly won the first round of the playoffs against the Heat. Simmons...
If RDC just uploaded, we'll watch it after this.
averaged 18, 10, and 9 in 5 games versus Miami, and became the first rookie since Magic Johnson to record a triple-double in his first playoff series. However, the hype around Ben and the Sixers soon dissolved when the next round showed the ugly side of Ben Simmons. And
yo, no cap, bro. I'll tell you, I think y'all dead ass forget 2018, which is fine. It's been 5 years. The way motherfuckers were talking about Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons going into the second round after they just mollywopped the Heat in the first round. Yeah, Ali could confirm this. Y'all had a lot of hype going into that second round. Y'all was going crazy second half of that season. And after Boston, they're not playing with 2 of their best stars, and they went to 7 against the Bucks in the first round. Hey, listen, bro, I was scared. And the way this Sixers team fucking folded in 2018 was crazy. Specifically Ben Simmons, bro. Specifically Ben Simmons. Because everyone was talking about how, like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, he can't shoot. But the reads he was making and his, rim pressure and his ability to finish at the basket, just, that shit just overtakes that shooting disparity. No, it didn't, buddy. No, it didn't.
Exposed his biggest weakness. The Celtics were able to completely shut down Simmons' driving kick game, mainly because of quick-switching center Al Horford. Boston gave him a Grand Canyon of open space on the perimeter, daring Ben to shoot and staying close to everybody else. It worked like a charm. Ben looked lost, unmotivated, and completely harmless. The Sixers' offense got extremely clogged, and they lost the series in 5. Even though his versatility, defensive prowess, and court vision got heaps of praise just a few weeks prior, Simmons was suddenly the most hated man in Philadelphia. News outlets and fan forums trash his game and character, wondering how a point guard could be such a terrible shooter. But some cooler heads defended Simmons, saying that he's still at the beginning of his career.
Ben Simmons, who's going to be a star in this game eventually, assuming he works on his mid-range jump shot.
After all, there were plenty of Hall of Fame ball handlers who came to the NBA with a broken jump shot, namely Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, and LeBron. When the 2019 season started.
But that's the difference, though. LeBron's J wasn't lethal, but it wasn't broken, though. You know what I'm saying? Like Russell Westbrook, Jason Kidd, their jump shots weren't broken. Ben Simmons' jump shot was broken, dog.
Simmons was still without a jumper, but he was so good otherwise that it didn't matter for Philly to win games, especially after the midseason acquisition of Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. By the end of his sophomore year, Simmons became an all-star with 22 triple-doubles and 0 made threes out of 17 attempts. When Philly was winning, the Sixers fans and the general public didn't care about his lack of shooting. But in the second round of the playoffs against Toronto, Ben's role quickly changed from ball-dominant point guard to offensive decoy. It was like winning an Oscar and then competing on Dancing with the Stars. What was most infuriating about Ben was his engagement and motivation. He often looked like he didn't even want to be on the court, and his disappearing act did not sit well with the Sixers fans.
I'm tired of coming to the game and you just sitting there not doing nothing. I'm getting mad. That's how I feel.
In games,
I remember, didn't Ben Simmons have a documentary in his one season at LSU talking about how like he wasn't trying or something for the team? That shit was kind of crazy for me. Like, for you to just go out there and say, like, yo, I ain't trying for real. That shit was kind of crazy, man. I don't know.
7, when that jump shot went in after 4 bounces and knocked the Sixers out of the playoffs, the first guy everyone blamed was Simmons. Still, his coach publicly praised his game and defended his weaknesses. Simmons also vowed to get better as a shooter and help his team win championships. When the next season started, the Sixers played a preseason game against a Chinese team, and Simmons finally made his first career three-pointer. The Sixers were so happy they celebrated like they won a championship. Still, it wasn't like he became Steph Curry. During the entire 2020 regular season, Simmons only made 2 out of 7 attempted threes. But his all-around game became even more impressive, especially on the defensive end. Ben led the NBA in steals and made the 3rd All-NBA team and 1st team All-Defense. But then he got injured before the playoffs, and the Sixers were swept in the first round. In 2021, Simmons...
Oh, shit, that was it. Was it 2020 that, was that the year he was viewed as a top 5... like perimeter defender, DPOY, Ben Simmons? Hey, that is tough. Y'all didn't have him against the Celtics.
Simmons made his third All-Star team, recorded a record-high 42 points, and finished second in voting for Defensive Player of the Year. But when the playoffs came around, his Achilles heel became more evident than ever. Not only did Ben's shot not improve, it reached the lowest of the lows. During the playoffs, Simmons struggled at the free throw line and became the worst free throw shooter in postseason history at 34.2%, surpassing both Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal. Thanks to his shooting struggles, Ben's confidence evaporated like a glass of water in the desert. And because he was afraid to get fouled and shoot free throws, he stopped driving to the basket, which made him completely useless on offense. In the second round against the Hawks, Simmons did not
31.2 from the line is so crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie, my fat ass, I'm confident I can shoot at least 45% from the free throw line with all that pressure, bro. Probably can't run up and down the court to even get to the free throw line, but I'm just saying, like, let's just, in 2021, if whenever Ben Simmons went to the free throw line, you just portaled him out of there and put me on that free throw line, I think I could shoot at least 45 to 50% from the line, dog. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Not attempt a single shot in the final quarter in 5 out of 7 games. Then, the low light of his career came in Game 7. With 3 minutes to go and the Sixers down by 2 points, Simmons had a wide open dunk, but then passed the ball because he was afraid to get fouled.
Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault.
This completely shifted the momentum.
Hey, Cardiac, this shit reminded me of that Omar fold when B-Ball Breakdown came in the chat, bro. Oh, God. Oh, yo, whole stream. Is this Doc's fault? Is this Doc's fault? B-Ball Breakdown comes into the chat. Specifically with this play. It was like, yeah. I mean, hey. Doc, come on, bro. Come on.
Momentum of the game, and the Sixers lost once again, with Ben scoring only 19.
Guardian, that's what I'm saying, bro. Actually, I think I can see how that was Doc with that out of all the plays. That play. Come on, man.
Points over the final 3 games. Of course, just like in previous years, the general public threw him under the bus.
I think he doesn't have what it takes mentally to play here.
But unlike before, his teammate Joel Embiid and his coach didn't defend him. Simmons was crucified for his lack of shooting. More specifically, for a lack of any kind of progress in that department. Writing was on the wall, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to get traded. And despite 4 years left on his mammoth contract, in August of 2021, Ben decided to ask for a trade. The only problem was that his trade value had sunk extremely low, and it was hard for the Sixers to trade him, and that's when the real drama started. Ben threatened to miss training camp to enforce his trade demand, while the Sixers wanted him to play to build up his trade value.
You've got to be kidding me. Ben Simmons is out here making demands. Ben Simmons?
Simmons, as he had indicated, missed training camp, which Embiid called extremely disrespectful. Ben's absence forced the 76ers to withhold the first quarter of his $32 million annual salary, which sobered up Simmons. He returned to the team on October 11th, but he was only there with his body, while his spirit was somewhere else. A few days after he started practicing, Coach Doc Rivers threw Simmons out of a practice due to negligence to do certain drills and his overall bad attitude and poor body language. The team suspended Ben for the season opener, and
I think that was the clip where he had his phone in his pocket too, bro.
his fines for missing training camp and team meetings amounted to $1.4 million. Simmons' next course of action was to say he was having mental health problems. Nobody really believed him. The Sixers continued to give him fines for not showing up to work. And by the end of 2021, Simmons became the most fined player in NBA history, surpassing $10 million in fines. In the space of just 6 months, Ben Simmons and the 76ers.
Do you know how much money you need to make for you to just be cool to take $10 million to the chest like that, bro? That's crazy, bro. That is insane. $10 million. Jesus Christ, bro. Also, I don't know, man. I don't even want to stretch it, bro. But I'm just saying, bro. With $10 million on the table, I am doing a lot of things. Like I am not doing. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but I'm playing. If I was in Ben Simmons' shoes, fuck my mental health. I'm playing basketball. No cap.
Sixers' relationship went from good to bad to extremely ugly. From a near defensive player of the year to a playoff disaster, and then to a guy who doesn't even want to put the team jersey on. Finally, on February 10th of 2022, Simmons was traded to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for James Harden.
James Harden to Philadelphia and Ben Simmons to Brooklyn.
Most NBA analysts viewed the trade as a win-win, and there was still plenty of hope for Simmons. With Philadelphia, the Embiid and Simmons pairing offered very little spacing, as they both like to operate in the same space on the floor and have the ball in their hands. With the Nets, it should have been much easier for Ben to play the role of the small ball center and essentially be what Draymond Green is for the Warriors. Because the Nets had KD and Kyrie, they didn't require Ben to score. He was brought in to play defense, rebound, and set up shots for teammates. He had all the tools to succeed in that role: speed, finishing at the rim, playmaking from the high post, and a killer transition game. Soon after his trade, Simmons was diagnosed with a herniated disc in his back, ruling him out for the remainder of the regular season. On the 21st of April, Simmons reportedly planned to make his season debut in Game 4 against the Celtics. He sent the message to his teammates that he would play, and the whole world looked forward to his Nets debut in a must-win.
This dude is hype as fuck, bro. What I said I was AO. What?
Game. But just before the opening tip, Ben changed his mind and said that he wouldn't play after all, which caused another round of confusion and scrutiny. The Nets lost the game and the series, and Simmons underwent back surgery. Then, finally, at the beginning of the 22-23 regular season, Ben returned to action. But it didn't look pretty, and he looked like a shell of his former self. Simmons looked uncomfortable just looking at the basket, let alone trying to make a jump shot. Once again, he was not driving to the basket because it exposed his shooting struggles from the free throw line, and he shot just 44%, by far the worst mark in the NBA. His passive play was detrimental to the team, and what was worst of all, his defense wasn't much better either, due to injury.
I think I ain't gonna lie. I think Ben Simmons can have like an Andrew Wiggins revenge story. You know what I'm saying? I think there's gonna be a point where people just realize, and I think Ben Simmons will realize, yo, that star shit is just, it's in the past, bro. It's in the past. But if you can embrace being a Draymond Green for a really good team, really buying in, really just, fuck all the distractions, fuck all the narratives, let's just hoop for real, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Ben Simmons still got that in him, man. Ben Simmons still got that in him.
Simmons lost some of his mobility and athleticism, and when he was on the court, the Nets were a disaster. However, around Christmas, Simmons finally started to play better. On January 17th, Simmons recorded his first triple-double as a Net, logging 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists against the Spurs. Things looked like they were improving. But then in February, Simmons had his knee drained, which removed him from the lineup. Then on the 24th of March, the Nets announced that Simmons had been diagnosed with a nerve impingement in his back and would be out for the rest of the season. Ben still had 2 years left on his deal, worth $78 million, which is without any doubt the worst contract in the NBA. So far, Simmons played just 55% of possible games. He's made just 5 career three-pointers, and he's showing more and more injury concerns. He still shoots with the wrong hand because he's a natural righty, but his dad raised him to shoot with his left. If you look at his hook shots, floaters, layups, and dunks, he has a far better touch with his right hand. There's an undeniable potential in his shot, but the worst thing is that he never progressed as a shooter. He's gotten worse, which trashed his confidence. But the reality is that Simmons doesn't ever need to be anything more than an average shooter, just like Draymond or Giannis. If he's even a 30% shooter for 3 and a 70% at the free throw line, he would be able to aggressively attack closeouts and drive to the basket without the fear of being fouled and sent to the line. Giannis is arguably the best player in the NBA.
I don't know. I think that's doing a disservice to like Giannis's post game. Actually a really big disservice. To just say if Ben shoots 30% from 3 and 70% from the line, he'd be a monster. Nah, that's insane. That's insane dick suck. I can't go that far.
NBA, and he's not a good shooter. Ben Simmons is physically the closest thing to Giannis there is, in terms of running the floor and attacking the basket in transition, and Simmons is still only 27 years old, and if he gets his head together and his body right, he can still be an effective NBA player, maybe even an all-star. But those are some big ifs. At this point, he's more likely to retire than to return to his all-star form.
Yeah, that's tough. Hey, listen, man, shout out to Ben Simmons, though. Truly, he's one of the players that I'm rooting for, that like everything works out the best for him. That is with the assumption that he wasn't faking those mental illness comments Not mental, those mental health comments. Because, there was a discussion about, you're capping, dog. As long as, if we're going off the assumption that he wasn't capping, then I'm cool with that.